Welcome to this week's episode of Unconditional Self-Love in Your 40s with myself, Tilly Reid. I hope you are well. I'm doing good. I've had a bit of a crazy week. I think I always find this stuff always happens at the same time. It's like buses. Literally, this last week I've had auditions. I was waiting to hear about 2 jobs that I'd applied for. It was all going on, and there's a lot comes up with those things, a lot of nerves. I am going to talk about that at some point. It's a lot, but I hope you're good. But last week, and this is what I want to talk about today, I went to a women's circle with my good friend Alex. I drove up to, she lives near Leeds. I drove up there to go to this women's circle. I've never been to one before. I've never had that experience. I've sort of, been on a spiritual journey now, if we want to call it, for about, how long now? 7 years? I think it's 7 years. I don't know. Probably longer. And yeah, I've never done one. So this was a new experience for me, and I really wanted to talk about it today. Sort of see more and more of these circles popping up, which is great. It's so great. A chance for women to gather. It feels amazing. I will talk about, obviously I'm not going to share details of what happened. It's obviously a private event, but I will just share my own experience about that and how I felt about that a little bit later on. But first, I just want to have a little chat about where they've come from. We're looking at them now and seeing that they're all kind of popping up, and we're like, it's this new thing. It's not. It's really not. It's not a new thing. Women were gathering eons ago. We would gather maybe in temples, around fires and hearths, just to chat, to share wisdom, support each other, share stories. And often a lot of women were midwives and healers at that time, and there were some powerful women who had a lot of knowledge and wisdom, like we say, and they used to gather and talk about it, and I think there's always been an element of that's always stayed through society. I, for one, have always noticed the difference between, women gathering and having friends than men have. I know it's not always the case, but, there is something special that happens when women gather together. And this used to be rooted in our menstrual cycles. I think they were called red tents or moon lodges, when we were a bit more, what's the word I'm thinking of, with the moon. I think our cycles used to flow with the moon and stuff, and now they don't really. I'm sure women used to sync up then, which is a weird thing. I don't think anybody's come up with a really, a good reason why that happens, but I quite like it. It's like we're all going through it together. But these spaces provided safety for women. They were a chance to celebrate, certain rites of passage, things that might have happened, and honor the cycles that we had. These cycles that were seen as a gift. They were they were regarded as, obviously they're to do with fertility. So, they were seen as very important. And then what came along? Yes, you guessed it. The patriarchy. Screwed us over. Not just us, I might add, also men, but that's a completely separate story. Patriarchal structures came in and wanted to suppress these gatherings. They saw them as dangerous or threatening. They just didn't trust these women. This was obviously around the time that, they were seen as witches, called witches. And we all know what happened with that. And it wasn't great. I recently read a book about it, and there was parts of it that made me actually quite sad, because I thought, God, all those poor women and men, to be fair, that died just because some men felt a little bit threatened by women gathering together. But all that wisdom that they had, not only in their own bodies, but in the healing powers of herbs. They were midwives, they would help women. I mean, the actual incredible power that these women had, and it was almost pretty much eradicated. And I felt something when I read that, and I thought, oh God, what if that hadn't have happened? Can you imagine? I can't. I mean, I could try to imagine what life would have been like. Yeah, but we can't dwell on those things, because that is not our reality. Our reality is the here and now. And women have come a long way, and we have fought our way back into the world, and it's great. And I, for one, am very blessed. I feel very blessed to be living at a time, this time right now. And I don't know what the future holds, but yeah, women are allowed to be witchy and spiritual and gather in these circles together. I mean, that's incredible. Like, we weren't allowed to do that not that long ago, So I'm really encouraged and love the fact that women are getting together into these circles now to do all the things and to share and, have an experience together. Because it really is amazing. So my own experience last week was great. It was really great. I think I had a little bit of apprehension. I think, as you always do with anything new that you do, there's always a little bit of, and what was I talking about the other week? Feel the fear, but do it anyway. This is it, And I'm sure there might be women out there that have been like, oh yeah, I'd love to go to one of them, but I don't know, maybe it's not for me. Just go, honestly, just go. I can't believe I've waited so long to actually go to one. I went because I was invited with my friend. My friend has been to one, or maybe a couple, I can't remember now. And I happened to be going up this weekend, and she said, come and join me for this circle. I was like, yeah, okay. 3 hours on a Saturday morning. And when we walked in, it smelt of incense. I love incense. I don't know. It just puts you in that mood. You're like, right, okay, this is what I'm in for. And I walked into the room and it looked gorgeous. She's laid out a lovely red circular bit of material with some lace on top. There was candles, there was crystals, there was oracle cards. There was 2 sets of oracle cards, and there was mats laid out facing towards the circle. We was told to bring, anything we wanted for comfort, blankets, pillows, a journal as well. We were also gifted an individual yellow rose. This was a lovely, sweet touch. And the lady that ran the circle, she instantly made me feel at home. I felt instantly at home. And I like that kind of energy in a room. She was very chatty. She came over and hugged me. I like feeling safe in that environment, And she did that. She totally did that. She held the space very well. And we gathered. We shared a little bit at the beginning. I know it's always that sort of thing, I know that sharing is a bit scary for some people, and that's in these circles. It is always completely okay if you don't want to speak, if you don't want to share, and that is the beauty of this. You can share as much or as little as you like. She gives this the 3 hours for that, and I think that helps. But we had a little meditation to start off with, and she chatted about, I think it was the Aries new moon and what that meant, and we did a longer meditation, and she took us on this journey, this sort of long journey, and the main point of it was to find our intention, to find our purpose. I was like, well, God, I've been searching for that for so long. Great. I was like, okay, what's going to come up here? I don't know what's going to come up for me in meditations, in any meditation I do, to be fair. There's always something very different about meditating in a group for me. It's that collective energy that kind of comes through, and something happens. So she took us on this journey, and something came up really quick. It has been one of the things at the forefront of my mind. It was about being an actor. And I know I've spoken about this before. And it was like, that's what you're here to do. I was like, oh, okay. It's one that I've known, and it's kind of popped up pretty much throughout my whole life. So it wasn't a massive surprise. I think I've always sort of skirted around doing it, but it came up again. So she got us to write our intention on a piece of paper. And the idea was that we went home, we slept with it under our pillow, and then the next day we bury it in some soil. And that was great. I didn't know whether I was going to share or not. I just wanted to see how I would feel, but I did. And when you're sharing something that's kind of like, in you, that's been in you, to like other women that you don't know, and you're looking at their faces, and they're smiling and they're nodding and they're, giving you feedback. I can't even describe to you how it feels to have that kind of feedback coming to you. It's so supportive, so supportive. Like, you feel held in that moment. And, I shared things that I haven't even shared with other friends. And, it does open that space for you to do that. And I was encouraged. I felt powerful. I felt strong. I felt like I could do anything. So if this is not a really good reason to go, I don't know what is. or maybe you might have a different experience. I don't know, but this for me was great. I really, yeah, it's always good to share, to get those thoughts out there, because sometimes when you get them out there, they're out there, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is me. This is what I'm meant to do. This is my intention. This is my purpose. I get it now. Okay, cool. And you can forget the why. This is manifestation 101. Forget the why. It's already in there. Yeah. But that's what came up for me. And we had a little snack break, which, yes, please. I was well up for the snack break. I literally said to my friend, because I think it started at, was it 10:30? I was like, oh God, 10:30 till 1:30. That's a really long time. I need my snacks, man. She was like, don't worry. She said she understands, there's women of a certain age. We need a snack. We do. We need a little break and a little snack. So there was some lovely, healthy snacks and a little break that we had at one point as well, which, honestly, was amazing, because I don't know about you, but I get so hungry. Like, when I get hungry, I just can't think about anything else. So, I've usually got snacks on me. So that was a lovely touch for this space. But yeah, it was great. We finished it with another just little closing off meditation. Ended up holding hands. Oh, we also did pull oracle cards. I forgot to mention that after the longer meditation and the intention setting and the journaling. We could pull or not pull oracle cards just as and when we wanted. So that was quite nice. And then we ended it with just closing our eyes, holding hands. And it was powerful. I felt capable. I felt like I'd been held, and it was amazing. And that was my experience that day. I came out of there feeling very positive, but very, very positive. And yeah, we'll probably do one again at some point. It's really nice to see these gatherings re-emerging today. And just something happens, I think a lot can happen. Healing can happen. You could just have this amazing experience, together when women gather together. I know there's different types of circles out there. Me as a dancer, as somebody who's very in my body, I would have loved to have done some movement, but that's not what this circle was about. And that's okay. That's completely fine. But for me, I do like to get up and do a little bit of movement just to get in my body a bit. But yeah, that was my experience of a women's circle. So if there are any happening around your area, honestly, check them out. Please just check them out. Have a chat with whoever's holding the space. Usually they're very, very open to questions. If you have any questions. The lady that held our one she was super helpful. She sent a very long message saying, this is what's going to happen. Please remember to bring these things if you want to be comfy. Bring your journal, bring your comfies, So I felt very prepared, before I went. So honestly, check them out, because, I really want to go to another one. But that's all I wanted to talk about this week. So, enjoy your week ahead. And I'll come back with another episode next week. Thank you. Bye. Hello, here are my 3 joys of the week. This week we have at number 1, listening to birds. Oh, I've been trying to get out in the morning, because it's very good for you to get out, get that circadian rhythm going. And listening to the bird song is just, it's the best noise. Take your headphones off and get out and listen to the birds. Go walking in a park, get around some woods and just listen to the birds. Honestly, it's great. Number 2, cooking for myself. Honestly, it brings me so much joy. I love, getting in the kitchen, getting up what I'm going to cook, getting the veggies out and cutting them all up. I spend time cutting them all up. It's very meditative. It's like a process, cutting everything up, and then I put it in the pan and it looks really colourful, got lots of colours in there, and then I cook it. And then you get to eat it, which is the best thing. I love food. So, but I think the whole process of it is just, it brings me a lot of joy. Yeah. And number 3 is quality time with my parents. I know they're not getting any younger, and I am wanting to spend time with them, quality time with them. We went out the other night for a meal. It was lovely. The sun was out. It was lovely. And and just sharing with them, we just chat about what's going on in your life, but it brings me joy. So, thank you. I'll be back next week. Bye.